Hello, hello, hello. Mark Attwood here. The Mark Attwood Show, Adventures in a Cosmic Suit, live. Got an amazing guest today, but before I bring him on, I just want to show you what Christmas looks like to me. This is my idea of Christmas. Look at that! They've gone! They've gone, baby. Yeah. If you're not familiar with what these are, you need to go and educate yourself. And where do you do that? I'm going to show you, because this is a website that I started reading. This website must be 10 years ago, and it is a great place to educate yourself about sacred sites and symbolism and stuff like that. There it is, vigilantcitizen.com. It's a great place for updating yourself on all the symbolism they use in music and media. And if you go down to the bottom, there should be sinister sites. This is a really good place to start. If you go down here on the sinister sites section, there she is, the GGs. When I first read these years ago, it was the confirmation. You know, when all of this happened, it was the first. This is basically their new commandments written in their legalese hidden way. But the first commandment basically confirms that they wanted to get rid of 6 billion people. But so the destruction of those makes me so happy I can't even tell you. And that combined with BJ, something's going on there, UK government collapsing. I don't know exactly what's going on, but I do know it's good. What else has happened recently? Roe versus Wade. I'm not going to say too much about that, but that's a lot of good news. And the number 17 coming back. I mean, if you think nothing's going on, you ain't living in the same place as I am. So, who's here? Let's have a look. Sagittarius. Yes. That's what I just said. Hello, Nezzy 111 11111. Can't say that. Penny Joe Bergman. Good morning. Good afternoon. Hello, Miss Chromesticks. Nice to see you. Health Junkie. How are you? Health Junkie. Good to see you again. Miss Chromesticks is in London. Yay. Yes, I know. Yay. It's good. It's all good. Really good things. If you guys, seriously, the video I did yesterday, I did 3 yesterday, but the one I did with Ian Welch is essential viewing, and there are affirmations. I couldn't put it on this platform. It's on BitChute, but there's an advert for it on this platform with a link in the description to the BitChute one. Go and get those affirmations and share them. Share that video everywhere. Share the affirmations with people, because it's powerful stuff. He did some cleansing. People are asking how to get hold of him. I asked him, and he said he didn't want anybody to get a hold of him, so that's why there was no link to him. But yeah, and what I love about this job is the things people tell me off camera, which I can't share. Miss Crowsticks can hardly keep up with the happiness factor. Ha ha ha. I know. Sorry, I've been sat behind this desk for 2 years now. It's been a long time. But recently I did a live gig. Did a live gig in Birmingham where I compared for 7 hours. And at the start of the show, I said, look, if there's any Americans in the audience, I do apologize for. Well, I didn't really apologize. I just said I was going to swear a lot. And then some Yank shouted out, "Fuck you!" And then he's here. Hello, Peter.
How you doing, Mark, brother? How you doing?
I love the way that we met.
Oh yeah, perfect.
Just
it's actually godly. It was actually godly. It was remarkable. Yeah.
And we had a good day, didn't we?
Oh yeah. Prime.
Tell the viewers, because most of them didn't come.
Well, I went to Birmingham. I've spoken with on Charlie Ward and a few of the others a number of times. I'm an American doctor in America, physical medicine, who happened to realized about 5 or 10 years ago that the medicine that I was practicing was not at all directed towards helping anybody. Was actually more towards enslaving people. And And the more I seemed to buck against it, the more I was ostracized from it. So it's fine, that's fine. I just went anyways. And after meeting Charlie and some of the others, then he said he was going to have this gig in Birmingham. I decided to fly out for this thing, if nothing else, just to meet these guys in person, the people I've talked to over the interviews, Zooms, and then lo and behold, Mark, you started your program with this wonderful your poetry, and my wife has followed you for a long time. She loves your stuff, videos, poetry. Oh my God, yeah, she's she's my muse. All the books that I've written already 3 books, and I've got a 4th one coming out. She's the inspiration for all of them, and she gathers this information all the worldwide, and she just, it's beautiful. But she says, Mark Attwood, oh my God, you need to talk to him. He's wonderful. And so and then of course your videos, and so we spoke for a very quick moment at the first break, and immediately touched. I mean, I really loved your warm-hearted sense of wisdom for people. That you just have this incredible desire to help people, and you do that with your writing. It's wonderful. I mean, it's such an aspiration, and I shared with you a little bit about some of the revelations that I have come across in my own past, losing my first wife in a tragic car accident, and only to find out later on that she wasn't an accident at all, that she was taken, and in many of the same ways that you spoke about with those Georgia things and some of that other stuff. I wrote a book about it. You can't go back now nearly 20 years and try to, get justice, because they're in control of the justice. They're in control of all of that stuff. So, what you do? Expose them, and so I wrote a book, and the more I wrote, the more I seem to write about this particular topic, the more things that are being revealed. We'll talk about that later, but back to, so when we were speaking, I shared with you only moments of this, and you were so engaged, and then lo and behold, I go sit down, and the very next video that you show is the I See You video. Oh my God, I almost wept, it touched me, because it's all about these lost souls that have been taken from us right out from under our noses, and how they must feel forgotten, but they're not forgotten. They are not forgotten. And when you share that kind of information, it honors them, even if they've long been gone. It honors their sacrifice. And so I loved it. And that was the crescendo of that visit, I have to say, in Birmingham. So
what about all my great knob jokes though?
you have a little sense of humor. Comparing me to a toilet and calling me Dr. John, because my name happens to be Colla, and you thought it was colon, hey, that's okay. I can take it.
Well, I just think we just got to keep laughing. I mean, this is some heavy shit. That's some heavy duty dog shit. You got.
You did a great job. I mean, you really did a great job, for stand up and without unscripted. I've been a part of many public speaking. I used to teach, so I public speak quite a bit, and you can really tell the people that have talent, people that have experience, and then the people that don't. Because they get up there, they're like little mouths. They don't really know what to do. It comes with But you did a great job. Yeah.
Thanks, man. No, I really enjoyed it. It was the energy in the room was fantastic that day, and meeting people like you, wow, it's just it's phenomenal. It's phenomenal.
It was my honor. It was my honor.
The only problem was 650 people, and I promised everybody a cuddle, and I was just cuddling everybody all night, and then.
Yeah. Why did I get my cuddle? Hey, wait a minute! I didn't get a cuddle.
What? Well, there was a no expiry guarantee, so next time I see you can have one.
All right, can't wait.
Just no funny business, all right?
No. Yeah, that's yourself.
No tongues.
Okay.
Anyway, you're in Tuscany, which is gorgeous. It looks so gorgeous behind you.
Yeah. Beautiful. We got, my wife and I got married here 7 years ago, and it's become my second home. when I finally get to the point where I start doing spiritual therapy vacations for people, where I have people now, they come to visit me in Phoenix, and I do spiritual therapy instead of just physical medicine is what I practiced before. And instead of just medicine, there's a therapeutic aspect to that. I have translated that now into more of a spiritual therapy because of the need for that in order to actually obtain healing in the realm of physicality. I can explain that further if you're interested in hearing how that basically works.
Yeah, definitely. I'm just going to butt in for a little bit because
Yep.
I think I put links below this video, guys, to all Peter's stuff, including how to get hold of him for that kind of thing if you're interested. But what's interesting is that the other day I was at lunch with my daughter, 14, and we used to live in Morocco, North Africa.
Oh.
And she's not been back there for 4 years, and she's like nagging me. Can we go to Morocco? And I'm like sat there going, I haven't got time to go to Morocco. I'm too busy. And then I went, hang on a minute. My friend's having a party there, and he's invited me, and I've not really been anywhere for 2 years apart from the UK. And there are restrictions going to Morocco. But then I thought, yeah, actually, I could go to the party, take a couple of kids, and then we'll stay for a bit longer, maybe, and then go to this place. My favorite place on earth is called Sidi Kalki. It's a surf village that time forgot.
Wow.
Over on the Never Eat Shredded Wheat, the west coast of Morocco. And then I thought, yeah, and then I wonder. And then I was like, my friend runs a luxury camp in the Sahara.
Nice.
And I was like, this is how my brain was going. I was like, because my higher self's pulling me to the conclusion, right? This is the funny thing. And I was like, yeah, I wonder if she's got any retreats going on. And then I went, oh, I should run a retreat. And then I said to my daughter, I said, yeah, I think this could work because then we could get all of these things done. And I got back, and then I just popped out an email and said, does anybody want to come? Anybody fancy coming on this retreat? Because I mean, it is the best place on earth to have a retreat. I mean, I know Tuscany is good, but the Sahara Desert is something extraordinary.
There's beautiful places all over the world. You can find them, and every place. My wife and I have traveled all over the world, and every place has its own its own unique personality, and that personality is best seen in the people. And so it doesn't really matter where you hold these retreats. I mean, you could do it in we have Phoenix, Arizona is where I'm from, and we have just north of us there's the Red Rocks. A lot of people do those retreats up there, and it's very nice, beautiful. Colorado, my friend Pogosa Springs, he has a place up in Pogosa, and they are home to the deepest natural baths in the world. That they're so deep they can't even find the bottoms. And yet, places all over you can do these things. It's just a question of setting it up and doing it, and it's not the place, it's the person. It's the.
Well, that's the thing. What I'm saying, and I've noticed a few other people starting to do retreats, and most of it's coming from the place of getting these people together, and because there's something very, very powerful, like we were saying about the event in Birmingham, when you get, the people that are subscribers, and I love you all, and thank you so much for being subscribers. It does mean a lot to me. When you get most of the subscribers to this channel are incredibly, they're all light beings, right? And when you get a load of light beings together, wow, it's amazing, which is what I'm doing over the next 5 days. I'm hooking up with a load of light beings, and we're doing some energy grid work in Ireland, and I'm doing a thing
the great part about the light being is it's wonderful to show people this demonstration of ascension. But there are a lot of people out there that are like, well, how do I get from here to there? I want to know what's the steps. Give me a way, not just a pill, because everybody wants a quick fix pill, med bed, whatever, to get them from point A to point B. And really, it's just a question of stepping on steps. Just but you got to make that first step, and you have to know where and how and why. And once you start making those steps in a therapeutic process, I'm used to treating people because I've treated physical medicine. I've treated 250,000 people over the course of my history of 35 years.
That's a lot of people.
A lot of people. Well, I was a director of some 250 professionals, medical professionals that all had caseloads, and I was responsible. So I had to go in and supervise every one of those people, for the, to make sure that they were doing it right in their their outpouring. Like I said, but what the general medicine, especially what it's morphed into over the course of the last, probably, I'd say last 10, 15 years, is purely physical, pharmaceutical, all physical. They don't even when I was taught medicine 35 years ago, and I learned overseas in Europe, in Holland, one of the best places to learn physical medicine.
It's also the best place in the world to get stoned.
Yeah, that's true. In Amsterdam, at least, where my wife is from, by the way.
Oh, is she Dutch?
Yeah,
your wife Dutch?
She's from Amsterdam. Yeah.
But in the Netherlands, where we have the good times.
Ja, Nederland is like voor mijn Nederlandse vrienden, I can speak een beetje Nederlands for them. Ik hou heel veel van Nederland, but I'll just keep that a little short. No, you found in those early days that it was considered half the therapeutic process to determine the cause. And if you didn't determine the cause, then you couldn't properly treat the symptoms or to treat the issue, the affliction. Well, over the course of, let's say, the 80s and 90s, probably into 2000, the system that was in charge, the pharmaceutical, aka insurance system, decided they didn't want you treating the cause any longer. They wanted you just to treat the way they told you. And actually finding the cause, they had no interest whatsoever. And more as time went on, by the time we got to about 2000, 2005, they basically would say, we won't even pay if you investigate the cause, because we don't care. All we care about is that little number, that little identifier, that diagnosis code that you are supposed to label everybody with. And once they got their label, you treat them according to what it says on the computer and nothing else. And I rebelled against that. That's it.
Thank God for that, because
we are spirit. We are not just physical beings. We're physical, mental, and spiritual. Physical, mental, and infinitely large spiritual. And everything that happens to us every single day has the same proportion of complexity to it. There's a very small physicality to it. There's a larger experiential, and then there's an infinite spiritual component. To ignore that and just treat the physical, you might as well try to throw a dart at a dartboard 100 yards away, blindfolded. After you've been spun around a few times, you got about the same chance of hitting the bullseye as that. And what I found out, though, is when I started ignoring their cursing and whatever, and treated the therapeutic, the people with therapy considering the spiritual, that miracles started occurring. I mean, I wrote a whole book about it. For 10 years, I did it just as experiments. I would try it, and I had people being cured of cancer, level 4 or higher. They had a death sentence of within 6 weeks, no cure. And when they started considering the spiritual components of those diseases, those afflictions, it put the light onto the situation. And we all know the first law of God. First law of God. Oh, no, wait. Oh, yep. Thank you. The first law of God is when darkness saw light, it ran, it left, it fled, because darkness comprehended it not. And those laws they're everywhere. You don't have to be Christian. You can find that in Judaism. You can find that in Buddhism. You can find that everywhere. It's in every philosophical study in the world, those same basic components. And when you started applying these same truths, two or more gathered together, using water the way it's supposed to be used, and different components in the therapeutics, my God, I saw people that where the doctors were telling them that there was no cure, and instantaneously, within days, would be completely, it was gone. And even if it came back, it would only come back and leave again, because they realized they're dealing with spirits here, and not just, not something that they have. It's something they're being afflicted with. That's the whole premise of spiritual therapy.
Well, you can see here on the screen. Can you see that?
Mm-hmm.
That's a statue in the Grove Hotel in Watford. It was put up in 2018 in Hertfordshire in the UK, and I think that statue was put up as part of the Bilderberg group meeting in Watford, and that represents exactly where they wanted to go, which is why
They want to enslave us, my friend. No, they already have.
Well, no, it's beyond enslavement. What they wanted was 500 million tops, but all androids, robots.
Yeah.
And that's what that transhumanism is all about. And people just aren't starting to get. I had a chat with someone in a cafe this morning, and I was talking. I've not seen him for a couple of years, and I was like, blah blah blah, good thing. And he was coming at me with interesting stuff, and I was going back at him. And then I said, and of course, then there was Roe Wade, and he looked at me like. And I could tell instantly that he was like, why do you think that's a good thing? And I was like, well, you have to rewind a little bit, and you have to go and look at who set up Planned Parenthood and what she said about black people. And then you look at it's a genocidal agenda, which was implemented via acts like that. So the fact that that's been taken down is a very, very, very good sign. And it's not about being anti-women's choice. I'm pro-women's choice, but that was all a con trick, because what they were doing with the little ones is horrific.
The interesting thing is, I wrote this new book as I discovered I had lost my wife in a tragic car accident, pregnant on the day before she was due to deliver our child, cesarean. We had it planned because our first child was delivered as well. And I was told nearly 30 years ago that she had died in a car accident. I was told that by everyone around me, all the different people, the newspapers, everybody, the police officers, the court. They all come in and is, oh yeah, I'm so tragic. It wasn't your fault. Sorry. And then over the course of this, as I start to ascend and I start applying these spiritual therapeutic truths to people, God delivers more truths. That's the part that is really wonderful about a guy like you. You're out there helping so many people, millions of people around the world with your poetry, with your writing. So in essence, you're a healer. That's what you're doing, because you're helping people, you're healing, helping them healed. So when you do that, you can never outgive God. You cannot outgive God. So as you share your truths, He's going to give you more. He's going to start downloading. If truth is what you're giving, if you're giving gold, He'll give you more gold. If you're giving, if you give truths, boom, He's going to give you more. I mean, He starts dumping them. So, I'm helping people with this stuff. I'm helping them realize that these afflictions that they think that they have in them, that they were born in them, it's not in them. It's afflicting them. So getting them to just realize that allows them to then fight instead of just taking it. Take the pill. That's what they want. Just take it. The election? What? No, take it. Just take it. You just take it. No, it's like bullshit. I'm not taking it anymore. And we don't have to. None of us have to. We don't have to, because when you start seeing this, like Hoon and Flash says, you raise your level of, when you start seeing the truth. Now you're dwelling in the place of the spirit. So your attention, 10% of the day, 20% of the day, 50% of the day, all day, suddenly now you're there and your body vibrates at a higher level of vibration. And when that happens, the sickness can't get you.
It can't. It's got nothing to latch onto.
Well, it's like, I asked God, show me a vision of something that makes me, so I can share with people so they can understand. Boom, just like that. I wrote about it in my quantum book. I said, he showed me a scuba diver, and I scuba dive. And the scuba diver is sitting at about 10 feet above the bottom of the thing of the deck of the sand. You know, you're swimming about maybe 30 feet below the water, but still about 10 feet above the ground. And he's swimming along, and as you breathe in, taking more air, taking more life, you go up a little higher. If you scuba dive, you know what I'm talking about. And you breathe out, you go down a little lower. So you're swimming along nice and flat.
Yeah,
And
I've done my
suddenly,
paddy. I've done my paddy.
yep. So suddenly you see below you the shark swimming along the ground. Now he's not looking up. He's looking down because he wants to feed at something as he's going. Okay. So the feeders, the bottom feeders, are looking for something. If you're on the bottom, you could be food. But if you're up above, they don't see you. And they only see you if you become afraid. Because if anybody who's hunted, I used to be a hunter. If you go out in the field
I can smell
and
it.
you suddenly become afraid, you are the hunted instead of the hunter.
Mm-hmm.
And those animals just know it. They can instinctively, and these bottom feeders know it because they can smell that fear. So when you're here and they're swimming here, they cannot get you. So what did the drugs do to us? Every single drug that is on the market, everyone, reduces your ability to have access to the spirituality. It grounds you, and especially the mind-altering ones, you know what, and
Hang on, which
the
ones?
sleeping ones, and all of those. I used to be a drug rehab guy, just
Sorry,
rehab.
which ones are you talking about?
Excuse me, which
Which
drug?
ones? Yeah, which ones are you
The
talking about?
famous. So you got the antipsychotics, or the depressed, the ones the calming drugs, the Prozac, etc. Then you have the Ambien, you have the sleeping pills, and then you've got your anxiety pills, and then you've got and your antidepressants. I had a very good friend of mine. He's one of the, I can name it. I can name him because he's one of the best literally in the United States narcotic. He gets guys off of 5 years or more opioids. Dr. Lochnicard in Phoenix, Arizona. The guy is phenomenal. He can get a guy off of opioid addictions of 5 years or more in a matter of days. This guy is just. I used to do his I do the rehab side. So after a person gets off the drugs, I rehab them to get them, strong again, et cetera.
Could he get me off?
Yeah, you can get off that stuff pretty easy. Yes, it's easy. It really is. Yeah, it's easy to get. You know what? Well, we'll get to that in a second. But the drug rehab, the thing about it. So I'm sitting there, but Dr. Lochnicard is, I'm a martial artist, so he's a martial artist too, and he does cage fighting. I'm like, 50 years old, you're doing cage fighting. He does, yeah, he does cage fighting. I'm like, wow. I said, so well, what do you do when you get sore, pain pills wise? Which one do you pick? He goes, unfortunately, all the only good pain pills are the old stuff, in the past. You can't get it anymore. He says, not that it's good, like it's good. He said, no, but it's not as bad for you as the new stuff. I said, well, what do you mean, like Oxycontin? He goes, oh yeah. He goes, I won't even touch Oxycontin. I won't even touch it, physically touch it. I said, why not? He goes, this stuff's been synthesized. He says it's been synthesized to cause other problems. You take a pain pill, now you got depression. Then you have to take an antidepressant. Then you take an antidepressant, and suddenly you have sleeping issues or anxiety. Now you got to take an anxiety pill. Then you take a sleeping pill. He said, now, here's the gig. When you take 4 of them, any 4, doesn't matter, the patients start having suicidal thoughts.
And
All of them.
And what film was that first shown to us in? Batman with Jack Nicholson, because it was all about the combination of the things.
Yeah, it's absolutely. See, they have to reveal, because in the spiritual realm, okay, they want to work with spirits, but God, the spiritual realm is the realm of God. So in order for them to use the spirits, they have to obey the rules of God.
Yeah.
Which means they have to reveal. That's what the whole Georgia thing's about. That's what the whole, and the good news is for us, when they reveal, the curse is already over.
Well, let me just interrupt.
Yep.
Have you ever come across the work of Ollie Damagard?
No, but I guarantee you my wife has.
He's an amazing guy. I'd love to speak to him one day, actually. But I've been following him for years, and he was the guy. He initially he investigated the assassination murder of the Swedish Prime Minister, and through that process, he started, same as you, he started uncovering the truth behind all of that, and then he started researching what I will call FF. I'm not going to say the words. It rhymes with Als Ags.
Okay.
FF, right?
Yeah.
And what he found was that every FF over the last 20 years, they leave a clue about what the next one's going to be. And there was this famous,
and they tell you in advance what it's going to be. They have
they leave a clue. So there was, I think there was a bomb at an airport in Belgium or something, and he would go in, and in that particular case, there were photos from a cafe that had been demolished a little bit, and there was a picture on the wall of the Eiffel Tower, and it was off the wall and it was on its side. So he said, right, their next target is the Eiffel Tower. Yeah. But because there were enough of us watching this, and because we knew it, what happened was that there was a van.
The light shined in its place. Yeah.
Yeah. But what happened in this instance is that there was a big van full of explosives put at the bottom of the base of the Eiffel Tower, and it went off, but it didn't go off properly. Because we were aware of it, we stopped it.
Oh.
And this is
there
how
have been so many, there's been so many of those, how many attempts at the real good president that America had, DT, and how many attempts on his life? I heard over 60. I heard that there was also 30 alone just on Melania's life. A number of attempts that they have made, but the problem is they have to tell it in advance. That's where the TV is so good, the television. So they tell a vision of what their plans are
with programs.
Yeah, with programming. And then you think, oh, that I've seen, that's nothing. That's just TV. That's where the people have just brainwashed themselves into really becoming sheeple.
Even better than that, Peter, I don't know if you know, but in an island in England, not only do we get brainwashed by the TV, we have to pay a license to get brainwashed by the TV.
Well, you got to buy cable TV in America, but part of that is also, get this though, the way witchcraft works, if you don't pay for it or they steal it from you, it doesn't work. So you have to be a conscious. So you have to go in and pay, like you go in and pay for that movie that they want you to watch, but you got to still pay, even if it's a little bit. Pay this little teeny bit. They pay this copay. Get this copay. Pay the copay to get your medicine. They want you to take the medicine, but you got to pay your copay, because otherwise it doesn't work if you don't give a little bit of your money. Or the other hand, they have to steal it from you. You can't give it to them. If you give them something, they can't use it against you because you gave it to them. No, that doesn't work that way. It's a gift. The gift can't be done. But if they steal it, they can steal what has been given to you from God. That's how it works in that realm. They've got all these rules they have to follow. And it's the rules that really ultimately F's them up, because when they make one little mistake, oh, trust me, the darkness that they're trying to use for their purposes hates them worse than it hates us. Why? Because it doesn't. First of all, those spirits, those dark spirits, they believe they're above us, but they're not. They've had everything taken from them, the dark spirits I'm talking about, everything that's life, pure, good, everything is, so they're just full of hate. But they need the witches, the warlocks, in order to have access into this realm. So they need them, people that they despise. And so when they make a mistake, oh, it's like they get, I've heard stories and seen proof of people that have engaged in these things, and then it goes wrong, and they look like animals when they're left. There's nothing left. They're torn to bits. It's grotesque, And so back into my what I realized with when I found out that my wife and child was taken by these satanic, I think I can say that, satanic ritual people. And then suddenly a file came. God just dropped this file in my lap that I shouldn't have had. And it had literally the planning and everything for it, all there. And even showed me who was doing the planning. So then it's like, wait a minute. And then I found stuff in there that the dates didn't match, and so I started going back and looking into, her death. And lo and behold, there was no record of it at the hospitals, in the police, on TV, yet it was all over the TV. So I started calling people, and the more I called and the more I started talking to people, the more I realized, oh my God, there was a whole conspiracy, not conspiracy theory, a whole conspiracy around this hunting field that was produced. And then I realized something. We know about the number of children that are taken worldwide. The statistics in Arizona. It's crazy the number of kids that go missing every month. And how can that be? But it's right on the government website. You can go and pull it up and look at it. It's right there. Names, birth dates, everything.
Yeah. And David Icke was the first guy to ring them all up individually and start totaling it, because there is no sense.
Millions.
There's no
millions.
Sense. Yeah.
So what I realized is, my God, here we are always told, now that the revelations are coming forward, we hear about Haiti and we hear about South Africa and all these places like that. And everybody's got their attention turned to that. Epstein, and all of this. But what we don't realize is it's happening right underneath our noses. And they have created, as it were, a sort of hunting farm. Now, as a hunter, you can go out and you can hunt in the wild. And even when you're lucky enough to get drawn or pay for some guided hunt, you have about a small percentage that you're going to get something. And then when you do get something, you never know if it's going to be trophy worthy. Never, hardly ever. But what do they do in Texas and other places? They create these huge savanna-like farms where the animals are brought in and they think they're living in the wild, except there's no predators. And when there's no predators, they start producing, healthy, strong youth, with massive horns and all the different things that they get for being out in what normally you'd think be out in the wild, except there's no predators, except for when the hunters come. And when the hunters come, the idea is to go in and extract them without letting the rest of the animals know that they were even being hunted. That's what's happening in America. That's what's happening in England, in Western Europe. See, they've created an environment where we think we're safe, we're strong, we have all the convenience, the best army in the world. And that's all an illusion that they allowed to have us so that we would be comfortable. And then they can just come in, they meaning the real they, not the people that think they're running the show, the corporate giants. Those guys aren't running the show. They're not the real evil ones. They're just the minions who get a few crackers so that they do what they're told. Okay. Yeah. And this whole system has been created around. So I figured this thing out.
Yeah.
And I wrote about it. And then I started writing it, and God opened my eyes. And I got to see it not from the superhero's point of view who goes in and saves the day like every other show we see, but from the eyes of the victims. He allowed me to see, because that's how I write. I ask him and he just gives me images. And so I got to see it from the eyes of the children in the cages.
Yeah.
the women running for their life, the ones who got caught and suddenly are being tied to an altar. So I write about it. I wrote about it in this new book that you are so graciously providing the forward for, by the way. Thank you very much.
which is a major honor. Thank you.
Yeah, it was my honor. Thank you. You honored me. Thank you. That and I'm just gonna have that poem right there in the front. That's what we're gonna use. The ICU poem. That's gonna be the intro. It's beautiful. It's perfect. It's perfect. So they get to see what in a very descriptive and artistic manner, because I like that. They get to see what it was like to experience that and overcome. See, because even in hell, God shows up. And for those who survive and overcome, they become stronger. And what happens? What's going to happen, Mark, when enough of us, men like myself, men like yourself, figure out that these accidents that we thought we've lost friends, stillborns, tragic hospitalizations of our parents going to a hospital and then suddenly and we realize, wait a minute, they were not accidental deaths. These were staged assassinations, aka sacrifices. What do you think is going to happen when the many find out the truth about the few?
Oh,
they're
well,
not going to be a place they can go.
In the words of 17, these people are sick and they won't even be able to walk down the street.
There are hundreds of millions of people for every one of them, and they don't have that much protection. And it only takes one or two radical, husband, radical wife that lost a baby and finds out later on that it was taken instead. Holy mackerel! It's going to be they'd be lucky if they got a bullet. They would be lucky.
Yeah, I'm just sharing this because this is one of my banned poems that got my first YouTube channel taken down, and you guys should go and, if you've not seen this one, go and watch it, because in that poem I describe all of this and the fact that this is a farm, and there's 4 very evil people there that are all now departed, which is nice.
Did you hear about what's going on today? You mentioned the Stones. Also, my wife brought to my attention there's some lady who's standing outside of Buckingham Palace who's doing literally she's talking about all this stuff that happened to her as a child.
Hang on. That sounds like my friend Jeanette Archer.
Anna, what's the name of the lady that was doing that? She'll grab it real quick.
I'm Googling it.
Yeah.
Woman arrest. Oh no, it's 2017.
He thinks it's Jeanette Archer.
Well, it sounds like the kind of thing Jeanette would do, because she was the first person I saw. She did a talk outside Windsor Castle about a few months ago. She got arrested protesting outside the Rothschilds' house on the way there.
It's happening today, apparently.
She was outside Windsor Castle. She's been on my channel twice, and I keep in touch with her. And she was outside Windsor Castle, and she actually described how, as a young kid, she was kidnapped by the police. She was taken to this place underneath Windsor Castle. This is
what this woman's talking about. So it must be the same person.
Underneath Windsor Castle, and she saw the Queen in this satanic ceremony transform into a lizard in front of her eyes.
Wow.
And that's the first time I've ever seen anybody say it out loud in public. I mean, David Icke's talked about that for years. But she's a brave soul. And it sounds like the kind of thing she'd be doing, but I thought I'd know about it if she was. Has your wife got any details on that?
I don't know. Anna, did you find it? She's still looking. She'll find it. She'll dig it up. Yeah.
From before posted today.
Oh, so it was video from before posted today. So it might be the one you're talking about.
Yeah, it could well be.
But it's just being posted today, literally live. It's being posted. So, okay, all right.
Yeah,
see a name there now. Okay, that's all right. You'll figure it out.
She's incredible.
Yeah, that it sounds like if she talked about bracelets being on the naked children, that's what this lady was talking about. You'd show up, you had the bracelet on, and then they decided which ones they were going to kill based on the bracelet that the children were wearing. And he started at 3 years old. It's ridiculous.
Well,
these ghouls need to go down, and they're gonna go down as more and more people, as this is exposed. you know, my book's coming out in the next week or two.
I was going to say,
And
the book I'm doing the forward for.
Yep.
Well, I haven't written it yet.
What's that? No, it's written. I'm just in the editing stages now. I'm just getting ready to.
No, I mean, I haven't written the forward.
Well, I was going to use your I see you as the forward, but if you want to write a forward, I can do that too.
I've got to write a proper forward. And
all right, brother. Then I'll send it. I'll send it to you. I'll send it to you as soon as I get the. You get a.
Just for clarity, the poem is "We See You," not "I See You."
Oh, sorry. We see you. Yeah.
Yes.
I love it.
That's the one about SRA and everything else.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. Well, you know, it's so important that works like this are out there, and you should. Are you going to make a movie out of this book?
We're going to make a movie out of it. You know, I wasn't even thinking about that until I started talking to David, Ian Rogers, and Elise, and I had always dreamt of doing a movie about this, but and they're just like, so they just flipped out and they wanted to be a part of it, and so they're actually putting the script. I'm actually trying to make at the same time as I finish this. I'm trying to make write the script for it. It's actually easier to write the script than it is because I can see it in an image, you know, it's delivered to me in images. So writing it in the script form seems easier for me. And they already have somebody that they're going to present it to that will that already wants it. Basically said yes. And
make sure. I'm saying this as an experienced scriptwriter, so make sure that it follows the hero's journey, the structure, because that's what's going to make the film successful.
Yep.
And get Jeanette Archer in as an advisor for the film because she was there in the cages.
Yep. You know, and I would absolutely I will do that. What you said, the thing about the cages is God showed it to me. I see it. You know, and it's the heroes are the survivors. Yeah. If they somehow can overcome these horrific events that are happening to them, they turn. What doesn't kill us makes us stronger. That's the great thing about this kind of proper medicine that the spiritual therapy. There's again the rules. What doesn't kill us makes us stronger in everything. Mm-hmm. In everything. So if you get afflicted with a particular attack, if you just don't take it, yeah, it'll kill you. But if you overcome it, you become stronger. And that spirit cannot come back and hit you again because you are now strong. You've already defeated it. Okay. It's like a card game. They can only play that card once. That's the rule, that's the way it goes.
Yeah, that's what I've noticed over the last 2 years and I've been saying this consistently, that all these attacks that I've been through have made me stronger and stronger and stronger.
Every single one of them.
Mm-hmm.
And what they inadvertently don't know is they create a sort of Superman which is part of their ultimate game originally in their whole design of trying to manipulate. It goes all the way back to the Nazi era. They were when they first started discovering the whole genome.
Super soldiers.
They would try to create super soldiers, but they did and they didn't. They had physical qualities, but they lacked the spiritual qualities. And it's the spiritual qualities that make a person like you, and these other phenoms, it makes them so strong. Because when you go into a fight with confidence, especially like with me, I won't go into a fight unless God tells me to go. So every situation if I have somebody come to me and it looks like it's going to be a fight, all right, I'm going to go. I'll only go if God says go. If he clearly tells me to go. So I go. If I go, I know I'm going with God. You become like a David and Goliath.
Yep.
You are indefeatable. If David could have picked up a feather, it didn't matter. He was going to beat Goliath one way or the other.
100%.
The rocks were irrelevant.
Yeah. And there was a fantastic story in the middle of the lockdowns. There was this woman who got taken to court in Ireland. I think it was in Galway. And she because she refused to wear that.
Yeah.
And they took her to court and she got into court and she just all she would say to whenever they asked her any question was, I answer only to God. and the papers were going, this crazy woman, but she says she answers only to God. But what it did, it was God made that happen so that it could be out there in the press because people saw it. And what it did is it gave people like me more strength, more strength,
Yes.
more strength. You know,
And that's exactly the purpose.
Yeah,
That's what
and
you're
that's
supposed to do.
exactly, and it was wonderful because you know, just talking about things like God just strengthens everybody, or everybody needs to hear it at the time because we've all been wobbling and wavering and in our faith and our belief in the future and all of these different aspects of this whole process have caused people to. I mean, even now, you know, people. Like this morning, I did an interview with somebody with Alexander Quinn, who's a really nice, amazing guy and doing great work. And before the call, he said, I got a call from somebody quite well known saying, if you're doing an interview with Mark, can you ask him, is he the one doing this YouTube channel? And I said, what YouTube channel? And he showed me, and it was this YouTube channel where this guy is putting up videos, creating arguments between truthers. And saying, oh, this person said this and this person said that. And I said to Alexander, I said, well, firstly, I saw one of these videos last week and I stopped listening to it because it's all just nonsense, right? I said, firstly, that's not even my voice. Yeah. Why is this? And then he said, but lots of people think it's you and they're talking about you behind your back. And I was like, what? Why are they doing that? Because firstly,
handlers.
Well, listen, dude, you know, I'm a single father. I've got a business. I'm doing 1, 2, 3 of these videos a day, and I'm trying to live my life. When have I got time to go make videos slagging people off? It's just not in my nature.
It's a waste of time. It's a waste of time. It's a waste of time.
But division.
You go and do what you're called to do, and that's and it's exactly what you're doing. And because you're going, you know what God, you do know what God promises, the promises of God for people when they go and they do what they're called to do. You get what they call it's a kingly calling. God gives you he gives you a kingly reward for doing what you were called to do.
So long as that involves a Jaguar, I'm all in.
It does if that's what you want, brother.
And while I'm there, I'd like to have a pit special. Do you know what a pit special is?
No.
It's a very cool biplane.
Oh. See, for me, the ultimate English bauble is that Aston Martin. I just
Aston Martin. Get it right. ASTON, not Austin.
Aston Martin. Aston Martin.
Yeah.
Aston Martin. DB11.
Do you want to hear? Listen. Right. Be quiet for a second. Listen.
All right.
No, don't touch that 007. Why have a notch? That's an ejector seat. You must be joking. Come on, that was quite good.
It was good.
Splendid.
So are you saying that the 007 drove the Aston Martin? Is that what it is?
Peter, what planet are you on?
I don't watch 007s. I might have seen 2 in my life. Come on.
Goldfinger, DB5. You know what DB stands for?
No.
But what kind of an Aston Martin fan are you?
I just like them because I like the way they look and they sound cool. And 107 drives one, so there you go.
Yeah, 107. He drives loads of cars, doesn't he?
Yeah.
He's got more cars than me.
Well, and you obviously got more cars than me.
Well, I am a petrol head, and if I get time, I'm going to set up a YouTube channel just talking about cars. But it'll be really sexy and really funny.
Why not?
Except I'll be in it, so that might be none of those things. Well, I'll tell you why not, because I'm doing this. This is more important.
Yeah, it is.
No, this is more important.
Yeah.
Oh dear. So what else you got to tell us?
That's about it. You know, so if people, you know, the way I do with the therapy is when people call me up, it's the most important to analyze the situation from a spiritual and how that works. So I'll just give you an example. I went and met with David, Ian Rogers, and Elise just this last, and they introduced me to a friend. I'm not going to go and mention who he is because I don't have his permission, but he had an issue with his knee, being a professional athlete, young guy. And of course the doctors are telling them, you know, that they need to do surgery because they can't tell what's exactly wrong, but he needs surgery. And I'm like, bullshit. It's like, no. And I said, first of all, we need to analyze it from a spiritual component. He said, well, I just wish this pain would leave. I said, pain is not your enemy. Pain is a warning system. Okay, it's like a fire alarm. Okay, until you identify where the fire is in the house, you don't turn the alarm off, and you certainly don't throw a towel over it to try to muffle it like pain pills do. Okay, you ask it what's going on. Well, how do I do that? Well, let's look at that now. Let's go and ask what's going on. So I said, so when did this start? He didn't really know. He said, well, a few weeks, a month ago or so. I said, so it's your right leg, your left leg? It's my left leg. Okay. In the spiritual realm, the right leg is right and wrong, forward and backwards, the knee. The left leg is your emotional side. I said, do you have any emotional issues with going forward or backwards? And he started laughing. He goes, oh my God. He goes, you read my mind? I go, well, there is your window that the attack comes in, because when you have a castle, imagine you have a castle that's your body, your physical body. And if you open the window and allow the creature to come in, he's going to come in, especially if you are stressed, and you're worried about things, which he was. I said, so knowing that, I said, let's go and take you through a therapeutic exercise. So I put my hand on his knee. Okay. And I just said, okay, put my hand on his knee. I said, no. I said, you feel this? I put it right on the spot. He goes, I go, 35 years. I know what I'm doing. Put it right on the spot. And I said, that's where it's bothering you. He said, yes. I said, now I want you to, do you believe it's possible that your body could have been telling you that something was going on in your spiritual life moving forward and backward, and it's manifested or allowed this to happen? He goes, I believe that's possible. I go, good. I said, so understanding that now puts the light on it. You've just discovered where the fire is. So the alarm can turn off now. It doesn't need to be on him. And he just gets this smile.
Yeah.
And I go, what? He goes, it stopped hurting. I go,
yeah.
I know. Okay. Now we're going to give it one more little bonus. And I did this. I go, it just felt that vibration in there. And it's gone. If the attack comes back in, let's say in a week from now, whatever, you can say, I'm not playing. I know what's going on. Go. And it will leave.
Mm-hmm.
I did the exact same thing with myself when I suffered about 3 years ago with vertigo. Now, vertigo, when you go and have those crystals in the ears, they say it's incurable. And when I first had the attack, I couldn't get to the bathroom fast enough to throw up. The whole world was spinning. I had to sit down. And I thought, oh, shit. I've treated people with vertigo. It takes forever for them to get over it. But I used these principles. And I was going through some spiritually scary stuff in my life. We were being attacked from multiple directions. And I just said, no, I'm not going to play that game. So I commanded it to leave. At first, it laughed at me. It just didn't. It took a while for it to go, but it went away. Then a few days later, it came back. And I said, no, go. And it slowly went. Before you know it, it came back again. And I said, no, gone. Now I can kind of feel it coming. And I say, no. And I can do nothing. If I had those crystals in my ears, I would have been flat on my ass right now doing what I just did. It's gone. It's exactly the same with every single affliction, whether you're talking about heart attacks, cancer, diabetes, name it. They're all the same.
Well, they're all programs, and we just don't consent to them. I don't consent to anything, exactly. and it manifests in different ways as well. Because I had this when I was really low about 4 years ago. I was getting it. So I'll just tell this story. So I told the British government about 8 years ago. I said, look, I'm not paying this tax bill.
Yep.
because you're a bunch of cunts. And
We did the same thing.
right. And then they come after me. And then I'm like, so I left the country. I didn't leave the country because of that. I left for different reasons. But you know, I realized I was going through this whole process of realizing how you stand in your power and become sovereign. And this is about 2013, 2014. Anyway, it disappeared for a number of years. And then I moved here, and then they came at me, and they were sending bailiffs and all of this. And I was like, initially because I was in a weak place, I got a...
When you're weak, you're susceptible to attack.
Yeah, so I got a solicitor in the UK who I knew, and I said, just kick this can down the road for a bit until I get my shit together, which he did, right? And I ended up giving him 10 grand in fucking solicitor's fees to write 5 letters or whatever it was. But when I got my strength back, I just went, right, I'm going to just sort this out. So I just wrote to them, and I wrote to them and said, you have no contract with me. You are breaking the law because you're breaking all of these data protection laws. And I said, if you want to contact me again, it's going to cost you this much for my time. And the initial letter I got back was, this sounds like you've just downloaded something off the internet. We'll see you in court. And then I wrote back to him again and said, go fuck yourself. And then a week later, the solicitor rings me and says, that case has just disappeared.
Wow. And that's how it works.
No, that's what I'm saying. That's how the 3D manifestation of that AI demonic shit.
If you dwell in the 3D and you're down there in that third in that realm, you're going to suffer. Yeah, but if you're sitting up in the spiritual realm, you can laugh at it because it's like looking from a mountainside into the valley. Everything that's happening in the valley has no effect on you. They can sit there and yell and scream and shoot their paintballs and do all their crap that they're doing in the valley, but they can't hit you. You're up in the mountain. Yeah, but you're in the realm of God.
Well, it's like you said at the beginning. If you have any fear, they smell it and they come after you.
They'll come up. Or this is one of the dangers of being in our business. When we are talking with people who dwell in the 3D, is it pulls us as practitioners down as we talk about this stuff. So you got to be careful. You got to keep your protections. You got to remember to keep to bring God's light into the situation, constantly giving that reinitiating those powers that God has given us, these weapons He's given us for a reason. The shield and the sword. He didn't give it to you just to hang on your wall. No, He gave it to you to use, so that when you see those spirits, you imagine in the spirit, boom, you take its head off with the sword. In the spirit, you imagine it, and what you imagine becomes reality. You realize it in this creative environment that we have been given by God to use. He said, take this mankind, this reality, and use it. I'm giving this as a gift.
Yeah, so well, that's why. I mean, I found this quite interesting because most of the things I've produced in the last couple of years have been driven by God and my higher self, and I got asked to do this. Right, I'll just show you. This only take a couple of minutes.
Yeah. Brilliant.
Where is it? Can't find it. Am I sharing my screen? Yes.
Yep.
No. It's disappeared. Where do I play it? Oh, no.
Hello.
No, not that one.
Interesting. I've been doing.
Not that one. Oh, there it is. Here we go.
Oh yeah, good.
It is time to put on the whole armor of God, that you may be able to stand against the wiles of the devil. For we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, against the rulers of the darkness of this world, against spiritual wickedness in high places. Wherefore take unto you the whole armor of God, that you may be able to withstand in the evil day, and having done all, to stand. Stand therefore, having your loins girt about with truth, and having on the breastplate of righteousness, and your feet shod with the preparation of the gospel of peace. Above all, taking the shield of faith, wherewith you shall be able to quench all the fiery darts of the wicked, and take the helmet of salvation and the sword of the Spirit, which is the word of God.
Brilliant.
Well,
Thank you. Brilliant.
That's why what cracks me up about that one is that people comment and go, "Oh, it's a great poem, Mark," and I'm like, "It's not a poem. It's just the Bible. It's just the Bible."
The Bible.
I can't take credit for that one. I didn't write that one.
No, but what you did is you delivered a message, and you delivered it in a way that is powerful and healing, and I gave you that coin at the thing. You know what that coin is for? You know that's a Medal of Honor. That was created by the same minting that creates the United States Medal of Honor. And my mentor, he dreamt about it in a dream. He came downstairs. He calls me up on the phone. He said, "I had this dream about the hand of God going into a volcano and pulling out lava, and it spilled out these coins all over." And as he's speaking, his wife comes into the room, and who just woke up. She says, "I got to tell you this dream I just had." And she's dreamt the same exact dream. And so I, sitting on the phone with her, I said, let me do this for you. Let me make this. And so we produce those things. They're only to be given to warriors of God, people that save souls, really save souls, not just baloney of give me $1,000, $500, and I'll send you your certificate. No, I'm talking about real souls where people actually gain life. That's what you do with these things. That's what these videos do.
Yeah, no, it's nuts.
It's crazy. How nice is it to be, on the front edge of the spear, on you're on the vanguard, you're up there, and I don't mean to, be kissing your ass, but you're like an Achilles. You're up there just beating. You're in the front, doing the hard work, because guaranteed the enemy does not like those videos.
I know that. And that's what drove me to make them even more outrageous at some points. Because I was like, I just want to poke him.
Yeah, but he can't get you now. He's probably, like with me, he tried to kill me years ago. He played that card. He tried to ruin me. He tried to do this. He tried to seduce me with drugs. He tried to do the gambling. He tried all these things. He blew those cards early on. And what it did was it made me impervious to those attacks moving forward.
Yeah, that's all confirmed by my own experience, and that's why it's great to meet you, because so much of what you say mirrors. I mean, it is. I am very, very sorry that you had to go through what you had to go through with your wife, but you're transmuting that into love, knowledge, and power going forward, which will save many, many lives, and that's the gift of these tragedies.
It was shared with me. One last little point I'll throw out, YouTube, that as hunting fields that we live in, they look at us like, and meaning the ones who actually orchestrate and control everything, or at least used to. I think they're gone now, or at least they're being taken out very quickly. But that being said, there's only, if you're not they, then you're the others. You're the animals. And even their minions. So there are three possibilities. They're minions, the ones that do their dirty work, that actually orchestrate, feed, do all the different things, all their bosses, all of their generals, their kings and queens, their royalty, that they think they're royalty, but they're really just doing their dirty work for them. Okay. Then they're the ones that are sacrificed, the ones that they slaughter. Okay. And then breeding stock. There's only three possibilities. So pick it. Which one do you want to be? Do you want to be sacrificed, or your children sacrificed? No. Do you want to be breeding stock for them to breed, to breed the best children for them. Oh, by the way, what do you think all the autism's all about? I've treated hundreds of autistic kids. They're made that way because they're super sensitive. And get this, they're sometimes so hyped up that their parents can't control them. So we'll take them and bring them in and put them in special schools. And those children, you drop and they go freak out. So they're hypersensitive. They've been created that way with these drugs and the foods and the preservatives and the chemicals in the air and all this stuff in order to get them super sensitive so that they will produce the highest quality of the blood that they want.
Yes.
See, they only have to traumatize them a little bit and they're just like
Exactly.
hyper batteries.
And you know what? I knew a doctor years ago, and we were talking about this subject and the rise in it because I was following the work of Dr. Andrew Wakefield at the time, who was a true hero in my view. Another man who's had to take slings and arrows like you wouldn't believe. And this doctor friend of mine said, no. It's not that there's an increase in cases. It's just that now we now listen to this. You listen to the line I said. It's now that we're more aware of them. And I said, oh, if that's the case, then where are all the old people with autism? And she was like, it just didn't get. That's
baloney. Then he's never treated. He's never seen an autistic child. Like I had this one child. He had 9 out of 10 symptoms. Okay, there's all these symptoms. That's how you identify them. There's nothing that they can tell by the blood or anything else. They just have symptoms. Depression, alienation. They can't make eye contact. They don't talk. They can barely walk. I mean, all these different symptoms. Okay. The only one he didn't have, he was 6 years old. He didn't try to commit suicide. That's the only one. Other than that, he had all 9. You couldn't even whisper to this kid without him start screaming. Okay. So I was just starting to do the stuff that I was seeing in this book, trying to go with spiritual stuff. So I looked at, I was thinking autism. I said, you ought to do something. Why treat him for what he ought to do? Let's stop treating him for what he ought to do. Let's start treating him for what he can do. And so I started talking to him. I go, do you want to try something different? Let's try something that treats this child for what he can do, not what he ought to do. And she goes, well, what do you mean? He can't do anything. I go, well, what does he do good? She goes, well, he scribbles. I go, okay, that's a start. He scribbles. She goes, wait, he likes to kick the ball. Oh, she says he spins tops. He's really good at that. Perfect. His therapy is going to be spinning tops. So we sit him down and we start spinning tops. Immediately he's like, ooh. So he started spinning tops. He was in it, spin it, watch it spin, And I said to the mother, I said, from now on, in the next weeks while we're treating him, I don't want you to say a negative thing in his presence. I don't want you to talk about what he can't do. I only want you to rave about what he can.
Yeah.
Oh my God, you spin the top so good. Oh my, your color so wonderful. You're an artist. You're an artist. My God, you're an artist. And stuff like that. And let's see what happens. 1 week later, I come back a couple times. 1 week later, the next week, he's running up and hugging me now. This kid who wouldn't make eye contact. Okay, showing me what he can do. Oh, by the way, mom's like, I didn't know he could read. He's reading. I'm like, he's been going to school, but they had to whisper the lessons in his ear because he would sit there in a corner screaming.
Yeah.
But he could read. So she goes, he's doing great. She goes, so we're treating, we're doing all these things. He's coloring, he's taking me around, and the dog suddenly starts barking, and the woman goes, stop that, to the dog. I said, no, that's negative. Don't say good dog. Good dog's protecting the family. Good dog. See, that's what the barking is not to be afraid of. That's a good dog. And then he started to say, good dog. It's just like, so get this. Within 3 weeks, he goes back to school. He's in first grade. The principal calls the mother, says, what have you given this kid?
Mm-hmm.
Because frankly, he was the worst. We have 20 others that want exactly the pill that you just gave this kid, because he's not. We're taking him out of special education. We're putting him in a regular class because he's running around helping people. Running around help, like, hey, read this, and he's helping the teacher. He goes, we don't. He goes, what did you? And she goes, to be honest with you, I don't know. We stopped treating what he can't do and started treating what he can. He goes, do you know what? You know how I got thanked for that case? The vice president of the company, when she called the company, which, by the way, they're one of the most horrible pediatric, I found out later on, in this whole realm, but we won't get into that. She wants to call the owner of the company and thank him for this care. The vice president flies out, interviews the woman, congratulates her and this and that, and walks out of the thing, and it says to me, you either never talk to this woman again and stop treating kids like this, or not only will you be gone, I'll ruin you.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, F you. She goes, okay. And then I went home that day and I was out of a job. 2-year contract, director of the entire state.
Mm-hmm.
Boom, like that. And you know what they said when they called me from HR? They said, sue us. They almost were egging me on. And I know that's not going to do any good.
No.
Listen, those kids, those autistic kids, they mimic what their parents are telling them that they, if the parent is saying, oh, don't be afraid, like all that, the kid's going to do what they're being shown by the parent. So,
well, that's the same with any kid, actually.
Yeah. You tell a child he's sick, he's going to believe it.
Yeah. I mean, look, my son yesterday said something like, oh, I saw this thing about ADHD, and he gave me some statistic. And I said, well, firstly, ADHD doesn't exist.
Yeah.
He said, I know that, but listen to the thing. I said, no, you need to listen to me. You're being showed stuff about ADHD on social media in a jokey form so that you start to believe that ADHD is a real thing. Do not identify as somebody that has ADHD, and don't believe anybody. If you meet anybody that does, tell them they're lying, because it's bullshit. And I said, every illness is a program, and you can deprogram it like at will.
Yeah.
But that's the quantum healing world we're moving into, and you're at the
absolutely forefront. The quantum, the whole, as we ascend, everybody's talking about these med beds and everything, and it's all wonderful. And I believe that technology is out there and it's coming. But when you truly ascend into a realm of 5D, 6D, and beyond,
we don't need those beds.
You don't need it.
No, that's what I've been saying the same thing. We can heal ourselves. We have this power already, because we're already in 4D, and and you can do things with, bless you. I mean, everybody watching, go and watch the video with Ian Murch yesterday. He's got some very good affirmations there. Go and get Dr. Peter Colla's Colon's books. The Amazon links are in the Amazon links are in the description.
Yeah, Dr. John. Why don't you just call me
Dr. John? Doctor's on the John. Can I get the doctor? He's on the John. What's he doing? He's manifesting some shit. Go get Dr. Colla's books. They're in the description below, and get in touch with him if you want to go to when are you doing the first Tuscany thing? Because I really got to come to Tuscany.
We are in the planning stages right now, and I think we're going to look at trying to throw something together in a couple of months.
Right, you let me know.
I wanted to go and do the Charlie Ward tour, but I'm not sure if that's even going to happen anymore.
We got booted out of London.
Yeah,
they don't like it. They don't like people who talk about God, make people laugh, and talk truth. They don't like it.
Yeah, I used to do some promoting of a band. I was a band promoter.
So was I.
Yeah.
Another thing we've got in common.
Yeah, the coincidence. Simple scenario. You get Charlie on there and call in his soldiers and say, "Listen, we're having a hard time getting a venue. Any of you guys own a venue out there? And even have a hall, a church, whatever. Just
Dude,
get one. Get one of the people.
Don't tell
donate
me.
it.
I'm not organizing that. What I'm doing now, I'm doing this event at the weekend.
Yeah.
With House of Huna, and then my personal calling is to organize this retreat in Morocco in September. The link to that is below this video if you want to come.
Yeah.
Although I've got a meeting about that in a minute, and we've already had over 100 people say they want to come, and I'm like, oh Jesus, that's a lot of people.
Well, the great part about my therapeutic vacations is not only do they get the mind, body, and spiritual thing that I do, my wife does the whole women's empowerment with dance and movement. It's just absolutely phenomenal. She gets these gals out there and does Pilates, and they start moving their hips, and then suddenly these memories start coming from muscle memory, and it's like wonderful. I mean, clearing up issues, back problems, neck problems that they've suffered, hip problems that they've suffered from for years. So we're probably looking, hoping, depending, we just gotta see what kind of people are interested. I'm popping it out in my website, drpetercolla.com. And if we have enough interest,
when you've organized it, come back on, and I'll come, and we'll make a good event of it. Oh, do you know what I'd also love to do is a men's retreat.
Hey, well, you got that Moroccan thing. If you get that organized, I'm coming, man. Just let me know.
So it's already organized, nearly. Sorry, Wanda McKenzie just said, what was the video Mark referred to by Ian? Go onto my channel, go onto videos, and look for the yesterday. There were 3 videos. One of them was with a guy called Ian. You'll find it. All right, I've got to go.
Your one last question. Your Moroccan thing, are you going to have other guys, or just yourself doing all the instruction?
No, I've invited about 5 other people who've been guests on the channel who are all healers, and so it's going to be about healing, connecting with your higher self, connecting with IE5 contact with because I'd say the thing about the Sahara is if you've never been there, the sky is the greatest you will ever see it.
Wow.
Yeah. While we're still
if you get any slots and you need another speaker, you let me know, brother. I'll be there.
Okay, you just invited yourself to it. That's cool. Well, I will. Yeah, definitely. I've got to have a meeting now about setting it all up. But thanks, guys, for joining in. I hope you enjoyed that hour and 20 with Dr. John. I've never enjoyed myself so much in the company of a doctor.
Well, thank you very much. You're also a doctor. If you're a healer, you're a doctor.
Well, apart from Doctor Who, I've watched a few hundred hours of that. But anyway, it's great to see you. Have a lovely afternoon.
Brother, you take care.
Yeah, I'll see you soon, man. Take care. See you, everybody.